जल का अधिक समान रूप से वितरण सुनिश्चित किया जा सके। राष्ट्रीय जल मिशन के प्रमुख उद्देश्य हैं जल का डेटाबेस सार्वजनिक रूप से प्रस्तुत रखना और जल संसाधनों पर जलवायु परिवर्तन के प्रभाव का आकलन करना, जल संरक्षण वृद्धि और संरक्षण के लिए नागरिक और राज्य कार्रवाई को बढ़ावा देना, शोषित क्षेत्रों सहित संवेदनशील क्षेत्रों पर ध्यान देना, 20% तक जल उपयोग कुशलता में वृद्धि करना और बेसिन स्तर के एकीकृत जल संसाधन प्रबंधन को बढ़ावा देना।
देश के अंदर जितनी भी वर्षा होती है एक वर्ष के अंदर, हम उसका केवल 8% ही बचा पा रहे हैं। तो ऐसी दृष्टि को मद्देनजर रखते हुए हमें युद्ध स्तर के ऊपर जो है अपने जल प्रबंधन के कार्य को आगे बढ़ाने की आवश्यकता है और हमारे
की ओर बढ़ते हुए राष्ट्रीय जल मिशन ने अनेकों कदम उठाए हैं, जिसके तहत कैच द रेन नामक एक खास कैंपेन शुरू किया गया है, जिसकी टैगलाइन है कैच द रेन वेयर इट फॉल्स व्हेन इट फॉल्स। इसमें राज्य सरकारों, सामाजिक संस्थानों, सरकारी और गैर सरकारी संस्थानों से एप्रोप्रिएट रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग स्ट्रक्चर्स का निर्माण और उसके उपयोग का अनुरोध किया है, जो कि वहां के सॉइल और क्लाइमेटिक कंडीशंस के अनुरूप हो और वर्षा के पानी को बचाने और कुशलता से उपयोग करने की इस मुहिम में अधिकाधिक लोगों को साथ जोड़ने की पहल की गई है। साथ ही विभिन्न कलेक्टर्स को जिला स्तर पर रेन सेंटर्स की शुरुआत करने का अनुरोध भी किया गया है, जिसके माध्यम से आम लोगों को वर्षा जल संचय से जुड़ी तकनीकी जानकारी दी जा सके। कुछ प्रमुख संस्थानों और मंत्रालयों ने वर्षा जल को संरक्षित करने के लिए कदम भी उठाए हैं। जल संरक्षण में समाज की भागीदारी को बढ़ावा देने के लिए कई संस्थाओं को भी साथ जोड़ने की पहल की गई है।
Both in urban areas and rural areas, rainwater harvesting system must be made mandatory while sanctioning plans. We must ensure that water is not wasted and the groundwater reserves are recharged when the rain falls on the ground. We must catch the rain and store it. I am happy that the National Water Mission's campaign is taking up a timely initiative called Catch the Rain when it falls.
वर्षा जल संचय की महत्ता को ध्यान में रखते हुए समाज की जानी मानी हस्तियों ने भी इस कैच द रेन कैंपेन को बढ़ावा और सहयोग दिया। राष्ट्रीय जल मिशन लगातार जल संरक्षण हेतु ट्रेडिशनल वाटर सिस्टम के रिवाइवल के लिए कार्य कर रहा है। इस दिशा में भारत के स्टेप वेल्स की धरोहर को संजोते हुए राष्ट्रीय जल मिशन द्वारा स्टेप वेल्स ऑफ इंडिया नामक एक किताब लोकार्पित की गई, जिसमें 100 यूनिक और इंटरेस्टिंग स्टेप वेल्स की जानकारी मौजूद है।
We use as much as 85% of the water resources for irrigation alone, and therefore depleting the groundwater tables. So we have a situation where we need to improve the management of our water resources, and this cannot be done only through the central and state government programs, because water touches our lives, and that's where the National Water Mission has launched major initiatives. It conducts regular talks. Every third Friday there is a talk on water, and on every second Friday there is a talk on water technology issues. Apart from these initiatives, there is the initiative of Jal Shakti Abhiyan, which was conceived of in 2019. For a campaign to be really successful, it has to have the commitment of the top political leadership. And what better commitment can be there if the Prime Minister of the country gives this clarion call to the citizens to participate in this program.
भारत के ज्यादातर हिस्सों में मई जून में बारिश शुरू होती है। क्या हम अभी से अपने आसपास के जल स्रोतों की सफाई के लिए, वर्षा जल के संचयन के लिए 100 दिन का कोई अभियान शुरू कर सकते हैं? इसी सोच के साथ अब से कुछ दिन बाद जल शक्ति मंत्रालय द्वारा भी जल शक्ति अभियान कैच द रेन भी शुरू किया जा रहा है। इस अभियान का मूल मंत्र है कैच द रेन वेयर इट फॉल्स व्हेन इट फॉल्स। हम अभी से जुटेंगे, हम पहले से जो रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग सिस्टम है उन्हें दुरुस्त करवा लेंगे, गांवों में, तालाबों में, पोखरों की सफाई करवा लेंगे, जल स्रोतों तक जा रहे पानी के रास्ते की रुकावटें दूर कर लेंगे, तो ज्यादा से ज्यादा वर्षा जल का संचयन कर पाएंगे।
जल संरक्षण की अधिकाधिक जागरूकता और प्रशिक्षण का फैलाव भी किया जा रहा है, जिसके तहत वाटर टॉक नामक लेक्चर सीरीज चलाई जा रही है। इस पहल को ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों तक पहुंचाने के लिए इस वाटर टॉक सीरीज को डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म के माध्यम से आगे पहुंचाया गया, और जिसके कारण न केवल प्रतिभागियों की संख्या बढ़ी, बल्कि देश विदेश से भी लोग इसमें शामिल हो रहे हैं। साथ ही इन वाटर टॉक्स का सार एक बुक में भी कंपाइल किया गया है। इसके अलावा नेशनल वाटर मिशन की तरफ से वाटर कंजर्वेशन के अलग अलग टॉपिक्स पर टेक्निकल सेमिनार्स और वेबिनार्स भी किए जाते रहे हैं। साथ ही जिला अधिकारियों और म्युनिसिपल कमिश्नर्स के साथ वीकली वेबिनार्स भी किए जाते हैं, जिसमें उनके द्वारा उनके क्षेत्र में की जा रही बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस की चर्चा की जाती है।
एवरी डीएम्स को रिक्वेस्ट किया है कि हर जिले में एक रेन सेंटर नहीं तो एक जल शक्ति केंद्र खोलने के लिए। जल शक्ति केंद्र में जल के बारे में जितने भी जानकारी लोगों को मिलना चाहिए उसी के बारे में जानकारी मिलता है। बट वी हैव टू मेक पीपल अंडरस्टैंड द वैल्यू ऑफ वाटर एंड एंगेज देम इन thinking about the value of water so that they leave behind a very good legacy for the next generation.
सिंचाई क्षेत्र में सुधार के लिए 26 बेसलाइन स्टडीज भी की गयीं और साथ ही मांग प्रबंधन यानी डिमांड साइड मैनेजमेंट के लिए सही फसल नामक कैंपेन चलाया जा रहा है, ताकि किसानों को उनके क्षेत्र के अनुसार कम पानी की खपत वाली फसल की बुआई के लिए शिक्षित और प्रोत्साहित किया जा सके। और इसके लिए किसानों को वर्कशॉप्स भी दी जा रही हैं। राष्ट्रीय जल मिशन के इस कैंपेन के चलते कुछ राज्यों ने क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशन को प्रोत्साहित करने के लिए अपनी पॉलिसी में बदलाव भी किए। औद्योगिक क्षेत्र में भी जल के कुशल उपयोग के लिए नेशनल वाटर मिशन लगातार निगरानी बनाए हुए है, जिसके तहत कई विभिन्न उद्योगों में वाटर ऑडिट्स भी किए जा रहे हैं। BIS की पार्टनरशिप के तहत वाटर अप्लायंसेस के स्टार रेटिंग का काम भी हो रहा है। जल क्षेत्र में स्टेट स्पेसिफिक एक्शन प्लान की संरचना के लिए राष्ट्रीय जल मिशन द्वारा राज्यों को वित्तीय सहायता भी दी जाती है। इतना ही नहीं, विभिन्न रूप से जल संरक्षण को व्यवहार में लाने वाले संस्थानों को प्रोत्साहित करने के लिए नेशनल वाटर मिशन अवार्ड्स के जरिए 45 लाख रुपए तक के कैश प्राइजेस भी वितरित किए गए। साफ पानी और स्वच्छता मानव जीवन को पूर्ण रूप देते हैं। ये सच है, जल जीवन है, जल ही शक्ति है। नमस्कार एंड अ वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग टू ऑल ऑफ यू। आप सभी से मेरा सविनय निवेदन है कि कृपा करके अपने मोबाइल फ़ोन्स को साइलेंट मोड पर रखें। आई वुड लाइक टू रिक्वेस्ट यू ऑल प्लीज़ कीप योर मोबाइल फ़ोन्स ऑन साइलेंट मोड। अब से कुछ ही देर में आज का कार्यक्रम विधिवत आरंभ किया जाएगा, तो आप सभी से मेरा ये सविनय निवेदन है, कृपा करके अपने मोबाइल फ़ोन्स को साइलेंट मोड पर रखिए। थैंक यू सो मच।
आपने सुना होगा कि पानी पर लिखा मिट जाता है, लेकिन ये भी तो सुना होगा कि पानी का लिखा कभी नहीं मिटता। हमारे पूर्वज जलदान से सदियों तक अमिट छाप छोड़ते आए हैं। आज जल संकट है। बढ़ती आबादी, अतिरिक्त दोहन और बदलते मौसम के कारण हमारी जल का संतुलन बिगड़ता जा रहा है। इसीलिए भारत सरकार और राज्य सरकारों ने मिलकर जुलाई वर्ष 2019 में पूरे भारत में जल की समस्या से जूझते जिलों के ब्लॉक की पहचान कर जल शक्ति अभियान की शुरुआत कर दी।
इस दौरान जल संरक्षण और वर्षा जल संचयन की संरचनाओं पर कार्य किया गया और पारंपरिक जलाशयों और अन्य जल निकायों का नवीनीकरण किया गया। इस दिशा में आगे बढ़ते हुए माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने 22 मार्च 2021 को विश्व जल दिवस के मौके पर की जल शक्ति अभियान कैच द रेन कैंपेन की शुरुआत, जिसका मूल मंत्र है कैच द रेन वेयर इट फॉल्स व्हेन इट फॉल्स।
और भारत में पानी की समस्या का समाधान हो, इसलिए कैच द रेन की शुरुआत के साथ ही बहुत बड़ा कदम उठाया गया है।
इस बार देश के सभी राज्य और जिले इस मुहिम में शामिल हुए।
मंत्रालय के राष्ट्रीय जल मिशन के तहत कैच द रेन कैंपेन की शुरुआत की गई।
अब लक्ष्य साफ था, जल बचाना भी था और भूजल को बढ़ाना भी था।
ये भू संरचना का स्ट्रक्चर है। जमीन की जो लिथोलॉजिकल स्ट्रक्चर जो होती है उसको हमने यहाँ बना के दर्शाने की कोशिश की है, और इसका बताने का उद्देश्य ये है कि हम किस एक्यूफर में जाकर के रिचार्ज करें।
व्यक्तिगत स्तर पर और सामूहिक स्तर पर वर्षा जल संग्रहण का कार्य होने लगा।
तालाब बन गए, कुएं भी बन गए, टैंक भी बन गया, सूखे कुएं थे उनमें पानी आने लग गया, तो हमारे अब कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं।
जल शक्ति अभियान कैच द रेन कैंपेन के दौरान नदी, तालाब सरीखे पारंपरिक जल स्रोत पुनर्जीवित होने लगे।
जो छतों का पानी है, बारिश का पानी है, वो एकत्रित करके जगह जगह कुंड बनाए गए हैं। उन कुंडों को सोखते कुएं से जोड़े गए हैं, जिससे कि जल स्तर है वो ऊपर उठा है, और इससे पीने के पानी की जो गुणवत्ता है वो तो बढ़ी है। साथ साथ में कुओं के जल स्तर बढ़ने से खेतों में जो पानी है वो भी सिंचाई के रूप में भी काम आ रहा है, जिससे काफी लाभ मिला है।
43,000 से अधिक प्रशिक्षण कार्यक्रम व किसान मेले का आयोजन भी हुआ।
देश के हर कोने में वर्षा जल संचयन विषय पर जनमानस को जोड़ने के लिए तरह तरह के कार्यक्रम हुए, जिसमें समाज के सभी वर्गों ने भाग लिया। जल शक्ति केंद्रों की स्थापना की गई। विज्ञान और प्रौद्योगिकी की मदद से और GIS मैपिंग के उपयोग से सभी जल निकायों को जियो टैग किया गया और इस पर आधारित वाटर कंजर्वेशन प्लान तैयार किया गया।
जल निकायों को जियो टैग करने के लिए जल शक्ति अभियान कैच द रेन नाम का एक मोबाइल ऐप तैयार हुआ, तो सभी जानकारियों के लिए एक नया वेब पोर्टल भी बना। 22 मार्च 2021 को अभियान के शुभारंभ के बाद से 46 लाख से अधिक जल संरक्षण और वर्षा जल संचयन जैसे जल संबंधी कार्य, पारंपरिक जल निकायों का नवीनीकरण, पुनः उपयोग और पुनर्भरण संरचनाओं के अलावा वाटरशेड विकास आदि का कार्य हुआ है। साथ ही हुआ है 36 करोड़ से अधिक वन रोपण का कार्य। भारत सरकार ने इन सभी कार्यों को पूरा करने में 65,000 करोड़ रुपए से ज्यादा खर्च किए। सबकी सोच बदली और सामूहिक तौर पर भूजल का बेहतर मैनेजमेंट होने लगा। केंद्र सरकार और सभी राज्य सरकारों ने मिलकर इस जल आंदोलन को सफल जन आंदोलन बना दिया और इस वर्ष भी माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के मार्गदर्शन में भारत सरकार जल शक्ति अभियान कैच द रेन 2022 कैंपेन की शुरुआत करने जा रहा है।
नई सोच के साथ इस बार स्प्रिंगशेड डेवलपमेंट एंड मैनेजमेंट, वेटलैंड कंजर्वेशन और रिवर कैचमेंट प्रोटेक्शन जैसे कार्य भी शामिल किए जा रहे हैं। स्वयं महामहिम राष्ट्रपति महोदय के कर कमलों द्वारा जल शक्ति अभियान कैच द रेन 2022 कैंपेन की शुरुआत हुई। तो आइए हम सब इस अभियान को मिलकर सफल बनाते हैं, वर्षा जल बचाते हैं।
एक बार पुनः आप सभी को स्मरण कराना चाहेंगे कि अब से कुछ ही देर में हम आज का ये कार्यक्रम विधिवत आरंभ करेंगे। तो आप सभी से मेरा ये निवेदन रहेगा, कृपा करके अपने मोबाइल फ़ोन्स को साइलेंट मोड पर रखें। हमारे कुछ मित्रगण जिन्होंने अभी सभागार में प्रवेश किया है, आपसे मैं अनुरोध करना चाहूँगी, कृपा करके अपने मोबाइल फ़ोन्स साइलेंट मोड पर रखें। प्लीज़ कीप योर मोबाइल फ़ोन्स ऑन साइलेंट मोड। इन अ फ्यू मिनट्स नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू स्टार्ट द शेड्यूल्ड प्रोग्राम। थैंक यू सो मच। जैसा कि हम देख सकते हैं कि मंच पर मंचासीन गणमान्य हमारे साथ यहाँ पर उपस्थित हैं, तो एक बार आप सभी की करतल ध्वनि के साथ हम आज के इस कार्यक्रम को आनंदित करेंगे। नमस्कार, सुप्रभात एंड अ वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग टू ऑल ऑफ यू। मैं शिल्पा भावना आप सभी का आज के इस कार्यक्रम में हार्दिक अभिनंदन करती हूँ। हम सभी लोगों को एक बात है, एक तथ्य है जो हमारे जन्म से लेकर हमारे जीवन तक हमेशा हमारे साथ रहता है, और वो है जलमेव जीवनम। हम सभी इस बात को जानते हैं कि जल जीवन है, और हमारे जन्म से लेकर हमारे जीवन के अंतिम पड़ाव तक ये तथ्य हमारे साथ रहता है। इसीलिए हम सभी की ये जिम्मेदारी भी बनती है कि हम सब मिलकर जल का संचय, जो ख़ास तौर पर सृष्टि ने हमें अभिन्न स्रोतों के रूप में दिया है, उसका न केवल हम लोग रखरखाव बेहतर तरीके से करें, बल्कि हम कोशिश ये करें कि हमारी इस धरा पर रहने वाले हर जीव जंतु के लिए उस जल का संरक्षण इस प्रकार हो कि सभी लोग उस जल के निर्मलता का आनंद ले सकें। तो आप सभी को बड़े ही गर्व के साथ मैं बताना चाहूँगी कि राष्ट्रीय जल मिशन, जल संसाधन, नदी विकास और गंगा संरक्षण विभाग, जल शक्ति मंत्रालय, भारत सरकार जल शक्ति अभियान कैच द रेन 2022 का संकल्प ले रही है। और इस संकल्प में बहुत ही ख़ास बात ये है कि आप जैसे सेंट्रल नोडल ऑफिसर्स और टेक्निकल ऑफिसर्स का हमें सहयोग है। तो सबसे पहले तो आप सभी का हम अभिनंदन करते हैं। आपको हम ये भी बताना चाहेंगे कि आज के हमारे इस कार्यक्रम में हमारे कुछ और अधिकारीगण और साथ ही हमारे समाज के विभिन्न क्षेत्रों से कुछ व्यक्ति विशेष वर्चुअल मोड से भी हमारे साथ उपस्थित हैं, तो उनका भी हम अभिनंदन करते हैं। मंच पर उपस्थित हमारे गणमान्य, आपका हम स्वागत करना चाहेंगे। श्री अमित कटारिया जी, जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी DORD गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, आपका अभिनंदन है सर। वी ऑल्सो हैव विद अस Shri Sriram Dindire, Advisor to Honorable Minister of Jal Shakti, Government of India. We have with us Ms. Devashri Mukherjee, Additional Secretary and Mission Director, National Water Mission. We also have with us on this stage Shri Ajay Tilki, Secretary, Department of Land Resources, Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India, and Shri Pankaj Kumar, Secretary, Department of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India. आप सभी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। तो एक बार आप सभी की तालियों के साथ इनका स्वागत हो जाए प्लीज। थैंक यू सो मच। और जैसा कि हम सभी लोग जानते हैं कि हमारे शास्त्र भी हमेशा से हर व्यक्ति को इस पृथ्वी पर जल का महत्व समझाने की कोशिश करते रहे हैं। तो ये बात हमेशा कही जाती है कि रहीमन पानी राखिए, बिन पानी सब सून, पानी के बिन ना बचे, मोती मानस चून। तो इसीलिए बहुत आवश्यक है कि इस जल का संचय किया जाए। और हमारे इस नेशनल वाटर मिशन में ये एक बड़ी अच्छी सी रीत है कि हम प्रतीकात्मक रूप में भी जल का संचय करते हैं। तो मंच आसीन जो हमारे गणमान्य हैं, आप सभी से मैं अनुरोध करना चाहूँगी कि कृपा करके आप लोग प्रतीकात्मक रूप में ये जो घड़ा हमारे समक्ष यहाँ पर रखा है उसमें जल का संचय करें और आज के इस कार्यक्रम को संपन्नता दें। आप सभी करतल ध्वनि के साथ हम इस निर्मल कार्य को आरंभ बिंदु देना चाहेंगे। ये छोटे छोटे घड़े हमारे साथ यहाँ मंच पर हैं और इन छोटे घड़ों में भी प्रतीकात्मक रूप में जल है और ये प्रतीकात्मक रूप का जल इस बड़े घड़े में अब भरा जा रहा है। इसे हम वाकई में सही रूप में कह सकते हैं जल का संचय करना, क्योंकि हम चाहते हैं कि ये जो संचित जल है ये हमारी आने वाली पीढ़ी को भी हमेशा यूं ही संपन्नता देता रहे जिस प्रकार हमें इसकी संपन्नता मिलती रही है। जल की शक्ति से हम सभी लोग अवगत हैं और इसकी शक्ति को आज हम सभी ने एक घड़े में संचित किया है और हम आशा करते हैं कि ये जो जल की शक्ति है ये हम सभी लोगों को जीवन में एक ऐसे दिशा की ओर लेकर जाए, एक ऐसी दिशा की ओर हमें अग्रसर करे जहाँ से हम सभी लोग मिलकर समाज के लिए एक नया आयाम बना सकें। हमारे कार्यक्रम को आरंभ करते हुए, क्योंकि आज हम लोग ये जल शक्ति अभियान कैच द रेन 2022 पर वर्कशॉप कम ओरिएंटेशन प्रोग्राम कर रहे हैं आप सभी सेंट्रल नोडल ऑफिसर्स और टेक्निकल ऑफिसर्स के लिए। सबसे पहले मैं यहाँ मंच पर आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी फॉर द वेलकम एड्रेस एडवाइजर CNM नेशनल वाटर मिशन श्री सुनील कुमार अरोड़ा जी। प्लीज पुट योर हैंड्स टुगेदर फॉर हिम।
Secretary, Department of Water Resources, Secretary, Department of Land Resources, senior officers on the dais, and my friends, Central Nodal officers and technical officers sitting in this auditorium and connected on virtual platform. A very, very good morning to all of you. रहीमन पानी राखिए, बिन पानी सब सून, पानी गए न उबरे, मोती मानुष चून. I deem it a great honor and privilege to address such an enthusiastic and intellectual participant, that also in this memorable occasion. I welcome you all in this orientation cum workshop organized for Central Nodal Officer, Technical Officers for Jal Shakti Abhiyan, Catch the Rain 2022. As you all know that India is home to around 1.4 billion population, consisting of around 18% of the world's population, 4% of the geographical area, but only 2% of the fresh water available in India. India is termed as a water-stressed nation, though there is a good amount of rainfall every year, but we are not conserving the water scientifically. And that is the reason India is facing problem in water. Our water resources are dependent on monsoon. Monsoon is very erratic. Though we in India say that monsoon is for 100 days, but actual rainy days are very less. More than 50% of the rainwater falls in 15 days only. And this intense rainfall causes flash flooding, especially in urban area because of concretization. And later on, since we are not conserving the water properly, drought at the same place. But gently, we can say that water conservation and artificial recharge of Mother Earth is the need of the hour and the inescapable duty of every citizen of India. For this, what we have to do, we have to catch the rain. For that, National Water Mission Ministry of Jal Shakti has launched Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain to nudge state to provide water conservation structure suitable to the climate condition and the subsoil strata of that area. And in the year 2019, Jal Shakti Abhiyan was launched in 1592 water stress block in 256 districts. And you can say that was a prerequisite of Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain 2021. Then in the year 2021, Honorable Prime Minister of India has launched Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain on the World Water Day with the tagline, catch the rain where it falls, when it falls. And National Water Mission took a lead in this and taken further with active people's participation. This Abhiyan covered all rural and all urban blocks of all the districts of our country. And our main aim was not a drop out of my compound. घर का पानी घर में, खेत का पानी खेत में, और गांव का पानी गांव में. Main objective is to harvest maximum rainwater. Districts were asked to inventorize, geotag with the help of GIS mapping all the water bodies. They were asked to set up a Jal Shakti Kendra in each and every district. That will be a single point water knowledge center. They were asked to provide rooftop rainwater harvesting structure in all the buildings, special emphasis on government buildings. To remove the encroachment which has come to the water bodies or to the channel which is bringing water to the water bodies. These were the intervention of Jal Shakti Abhiyan 2021. For that, we have made a portal to monitor the progress of the Abhiyan. In Jal Shakti Abhiyan 2021, around 14.86 lakh of water-related works were either constructed, repaired, or were ongoing, and around 15.8 lakhs of water bodies were geotagged. And this year also, on 29th March 2022, Honorable President of India has launched Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain 2022 with the tagline, catch the rain where it falls, when it falls. This year we have included few more intervention like Springship management, catchment area protection plan, wetland management, development and management. And for this Abhiyan, you all have been nominated as Central Nodal Officer and the technical officers from as a representative of Government of India. And today this workshop has been organized to deliberate on the role of technical officer, Central Nodal Officer and technical officer in this Abhiyan. I'll not go much into the details. Additional Secretary and Mission Director, National Water Mission, will share presentation on the role of Central Nodal Officer and Technical Officer in Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain 2022. So I request everybody present here to participate fully in this Abhiyan and ask your friends, pursue your friends and relatives to participate in this Abhiyan to make our country water sustainable. With this, I close my address with the famous quote, माता है भूमि, पिता है पानी, यही कह रही है गुरबानी. Thank you very much. जय हिंद.
थैंक यू सो मच सर. बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने. और जब माता पिता का साया एक साथ होता है ना, तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि कोई भी व्यक्ति अपने जीवन के किसी भी अंधकार से अंधकार भरे क्षण से बाहर निकल के आ सकता है। अभी हम ये घड़ा देख रहे थे तो इस घड़े को देखकर अचानक एक ख्याल मेरे जहन में आया कि किस प्रकार जब किसी चीज़ की आदत डाल ली जाए तो वो हमारे जीवनचर्या में आ जाती है और आगे जाकर हम सभी लोगों को, समाज को एक नए रूप में व्यवस्थित करने में साथ देती है। अगर आपने कभी देखा हो कि कुम्हार जब घड़ा बनाते हैं तो एक तरफ तो वो अंदर उसमें हाथ रखते हैं और दूसरी तरफ से उसे थपकी भी मारकर उसे आकार देते चले जाते हैं। तो यही एक ताकत होती है प्रशिक्षण की। कुम्हार प्रशिक्षित कर रहा होता है उस माटी को कि किस प्रकार उसे आकार लेना है और अंदर से हाथ रखकर ये भी पूरी तरह से श्योर कर रहे होते हैं कि कहीं वो घड़ा टूट ना जाए। तो प्रशिक्षण भी दिया जाना है और उसके साथ साथ मोटिवेशन, इन दोनों चीज़ों का सामंजस्य बिठाना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी होता है। तो इसीलिए कहा जाता है कि प्रशिक्षण में ताकत होती है। और आप सभी लोग तो मैं कह सकती हूँ कि ना केवल प्रशिक्षित ही हैं बल्कि हमारे जल संरक्षक भी हैं। तो आप सभी के लिए ये जो वर्कशॉप कम ओरिएंटेशन प्रोग्राम रखा गया है ये बेहद बेहद महत्वपूर्ण है। तो आज के इस वर्कशॉप को शुरू करते हुए सबसे पहले मैं यहाँ आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी सेक्रेटरी डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ वाटर रिसोर्सेज, रिवर डेवलपमेंट एंड गंगा रिजुविनेशन, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ जल शक्ति, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, श्री पंकज कुमार। प्लीज पुट योर हैंड्स टुगेदर फॉर हिम।
Secretary Land Resources and my colleague, Shri Ajay Tirki, Additional Secretary in Department of Water Resources, and also Mission Director of the National Water Mission, Srimati Devashri Mukherjee, Advisor in the Department, Shri Ram Vidreji, and Joint Secretary from Rural Development, Shri Amit Kataria ji, and all the CNOs, the Central Nodal Officers, the technical officers, the senior officers who are present in today's program and who are connected with us online. First of all, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all the CNOs and TOs who have spared time to be with us today. Let me, in the beginning, attempt to lay out a background of the Jal Shakti Abhiyan, the philosophy behind it. As you know, our country has an area of about 2.4% of the world's area. And we have freshwater resources, about 4% of the world's total resources. But we carry a population which is about 18% of the world's population. And even today, more than 50% of this population is dependent on agriculture, which also means irrigation, which is a major consumer of our water resources. We have the world's largest cattle population, which has to be given fodder, and they also need drinking water. Since independence, our population has been growing, which means as the rain that we receive is limited, it remains the same, more or less, save for year-to-year fluctuations. Our per capita availability of water has been declining. At the same time, our demand, because of growth in population, growth in agricultural economy, growth in demand of water by other sectors of the economy, all this is going up. So today we are at a situation where we are water stressed, and you are very well aware that in some areas of the country this has reached a situation which can be called as water scarce. So there is an increasing realization, an increasing impetus to manage our water resources in a better way. And that is the focus of the Jal Shakti Abhiyan. As you know, Prime Minister has said that our water resources should be managed in a manner which does not come in the way, which does not impede our economic development. So, we have to devote more management time, we have to think more, we have to organize better to harness our water resources. The Jal Shakti Abhiyan attempts to do this by an approach of advanced planning, advanced action, advance to the monsoon, so that we can catch the rain and we can harness whatever is being given to us from the skies. While doing this, we must also be aware that we are in a period where variability of monsoon is increasing thanks to the climate change. So a rainfall which we would have received over a given number of days in the past, now we receive in fewer number of days with more irregularity. That means our systems on the ground must be resilient enough to take into account and deal with this variability. Jal Shakti Abhiyans, as has been mentioned, have been initiated from the year 2019. When we took up this program in 2019, it was limited to 256 water stressed districts of the country. And I was also a part of that Abhiyan in the sense that I was one of the CNOs like you. And I was in electronics ministry, and then I went to Karnataka as part of the central team. Those days in the first Abhiyan, we were required to make 3 visits. And I can tell you it was a very educative experience for me. I didn't know much about the water sector, but what I saw added to my knowledge a great deal. So I'm sure when you go to your district, some of you might be better aware than I was about the water issues. But when you go, it will be a two-way exercise. You will be reviewing the arrangements, you will be sitting down with the district authorities and see how they are planning to make preparations for receiving the rain, water conservation. But at the same time, when you interact with the officers there and also with the villagers, when you visit the villages, it will be a two-way experience. You give some instructions or guidance, but you also listen a lot and you learn a lot. So in 2019, as I said, we covered part of the country, and CNOs had to make 3 visits. And what I found particularly stressful for the CNO was that apart from making 3 visits, you were also required to collect and feed in a lot of data yourself. Then in the year 2020, we could not take up the Jal Shakti Abhiyan, but the National Water Mission took up the Catch the Rain campaign. 2020 there was lockdown because of the pandemic, so no Abhiyan could be taken up. And then in the year 2021, as our colleague from National Water Mission has told, the Prime Minister himself launched the Abhiyan on 22nd March, and it was extended to the entire country, rural as well as urban areas. And this time we did not ask CNOs to feed in data. For that we made our own arrangements with the ministries, mainly with Ministry of RD, Ministry of Land Resources, Ministry of Environment, and it is through them data was being collected. So CNO's role was mainly to oversee how Jal Shakti Abhiyan was being implemented, to be part of the planning and implementation exercise, to give a qualitative feedback as to what is happening at the ground level, to give us a feedback as to how well the program is going. We plan to implement JSA 2022 in a similar manner. But before I come to 2022, I would just add a couple of things to what we did in 2021. Apart from making it an all India exercise, we also asked all the districts to map their water resources and create a Jal Shakti Kendra. So this was supposed to be a knowledge center and be a repository of all the knowledge on water assets of the district. It's heartening that about 2/3 districts of the country have set up these Jal Shakti Kendras till now. And one of your responsibilities when you go to the field will be to see whether the Jal Shakti Kendra has been constituted, has been established or not, and if it has been established, how it is functioning. And if it has not been established, then encourage the district administration to do it as soon as possible. And also look at the kind of mapping exercise, the kind of planning exercise the district administration has done and how ready they are for the incoming monsoon. Now, coming to 2022, the President of India launched the Jal Shakti Abhiyan in 2022 on 29th March. And this just shows the level of importance that Government of India attaches to the Jal Shakti Abhiyan exercise. This year, we have added 2 distinct features. There are other features also, but 2 main features I would like to mention. One is, as you know, Prime Minister has given a call of having Amrit Sarovars in all the districts of the country. This being the 75th year of India's independence, a clarion call has been given that at least 75 water tanks in the districts should either be constructed or they should be renovated. Desiltation should be done. Whatever improvements are required should be done for these tanks. And we are talking of large tanks here, not the farm ponds. So this is one aspect which Ministry of RD is implementing, but which will be an integral part of the Jal Shakti Abhiyan. And this is one of the areas we want to review, we want you to review carefully with the district administration, where they have identified new ponds or where the renovation is to take place, and what is going to be the impact of such construction or renovation. The second innovative feature introduced this year is about Springship management. Now, many of you will be well aware of the Springship management, but I would refresh your memory by pointing towards the Niti Aayog report on Springship management, in which it was mentioned that our spring sheds are not looked after well in the hill areas and they are disappearing. Like our water bodies in the plains, in the process of urbanization over decades, we did not perhaps pay as much attention as we should have, and many of water bodies no longer exist. Many have obstructions in the water channels leading to those bodies, and that is one of the tasks in the Jal Shakti Abhiyan, that the district administration has to see and clear such obstructions so that, and clean the tanks so that the water tanks are filled up properly when the rains come. So these spring sheds are one of the neglected areas, and a concerted effort is necessary to maintain them in good health and also revive important spring sheds in the hill areas. So those of you who will be going in areas where spring sheds are there, we will be requesting you to have a close look at the plans of the district administration in reviving Springship. Department of Land Resources, and my colleague will be talking about it in greater detail. They have brought out a specific component on Springship management as part of the overall watershed management, and he will be talking about it. When we started this program, I was happy to see this little but important innovation where we poured water from small pitchers into the big pitcher. I think this is symbolic, but you will be doing the real work from smaller spring sheds, getting water into larger bodies, from droplets of rain, converging them into ponds, tanks, having recharge structures so that our real pitcher below the ground gets filled up. So these are the important aspects on which your feedback, your supervision will be crucial. In the end, I would just like to say that what we are looking for is basically institutionalizing this whole exercise. I'm glad to say that it appears that at the state level, it has met with a very good response, with a lot of public participation. In fact, several states are having their own Jal Sanchayan Abhiyans, and they have plugged in happily with the Jal Shakti Abhiyan. But in some states, this realization is not that prominent, and that is the task that we have to do. So we have to institutionalize it, and this exercise, your visits will play an important role in furthering that process. We also have to see that eventually it seeps down in our calendar of things to do at the district level, at the subdivisional level, at the block level, and most importantly, at the Gram Panchayat and village level. It comes automatically to us that before monsoon we have to do 1, 2, 3 things. We must get ready for the monsoons. It is towards that trajectory that we are aiming for, and therefore we hope that Jal Shakti Abhiyan 2022 will make a significant progress in that direction. We had a little bit of interaction with the states earlier, about 2 weeks earlier, and a few states presented their plans. It was encouraging to see that what they plan for this year is significantly larger than what they planned for 2021. And let me tell you that 2021 was a much bigger exercise as compared to 2019 exercise, of course, because it was all over the country. So we are looking towards a greater effort in 2022 and building upon the success that 2019 and 2021 have created for us. I wish you all the very best for the task that lies ahead, and in the coming sessions you will be given greater exposure about what is conceived, what we have to do, and I wish you again good luck and all the best, and we look forward to your detailed reports on the completion of your visits. Thank you.
थैंक यू सो मच सर। दोस्तों, हम सभी लोगों के शास्त्रों में कहा गया है, जिस चीज़ को पढ़ते हुए हम बड़े हुए हैं, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुख भाग भवेत्। हम ऊपर वाले से प्रार्थना तो करते हैं कि सभी लोग सुखी रहें, निरोग रहें, किसी के जीवन में किसी तरह की कोई परेशानी ना हो, और जो सबका अधिकार है वो सबको मिलता रहे। इस चीज़ की हम कामना ज़रूर करते हैं, लेकिन इसके प्रति कार्य भी करना ज़रूरी होता है। इसीलिए जब हम लोग जल संचय की बात करते हैं या जल संरक्षण की बात करते हैं तो ये समझना ज़रूरी है कि चाहे हम जल शक्ति अभियान की बात करें, कैच द रेन की बात करें, ये पूरा संकल्प संपन्न तभी हो सकता है जब हमारे देश के ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में भी इसका आभास पहुंच सके, और वहां तक आप ही लोग इसे पहुंचा सकते हैं. सो वी हैव विद अस द जेंटलमैन who is the Secretary, Department of Land Resources, Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India, Shri Ajay Tirki ji. He is going to present a good presentation on this particular subject, and let's see what all he has to say to us. Please put your hands together for him.
Good morning to all of you. So I'll be speaking on watershed management and how watershed projects can contribute to this campaign. First of all, let me start with my two observations. One is that you are tasked with a very sacred task. You'll be working on water. Water, the subject, harnessing water, and water is a source of life, and therefore I consider it as very sacred. So you are tasked for a very sacred purpose. And two is that when we start looking at things of watershed management, as I go along the presentation, it's all about basically catch the rain. So whatever we have done for the last 10-15 years on watershed projects and watershed management is all about catch the rain. So next, please. So what is watershed management? It is basically, the start point is the natural resource management. That is the start point. And it's to develop the rain-fed degraded areas and wastelands, etc. And the approach is a multi-pronged approach. There are many participating approaches. But the core of this entire multi-pronged approach is the ridge to valley approach. So we start from the ridges, keep working on the ridges, and then come downwards to the valley. And the activities we undertake is how to harness and harvest rainwater. That basically is watershed management. And this department of ours, Department of Land Resources, basically one of the big schemes is watershed, WDC PMKSY we call it, watershed development component of the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. And we call it watershed management. Next, please. So this is the status of the scheme at the moment. We have already got the approval from the cabinet on 15 December 2021, and the financial outlay is 12,404 crores. It is a 5-year project period, and the important thing is that the projects are identified based on the composite index which has been devised by the NARA. And what is this composite index? The composite index is basically factors like the degree of water stress in that area, rain-fed area, the degraded lands, the quantum of degraded land in that area, rainfall, and such like factors. So that is the composite index on the basis of which we identify the watershed projects. And therefore, one can say that these are the areas which are the most vulnerable and the most impoverished as far as water is concerned. So what is the status as of now? We have 1,099 projects which are sanctioned across the country, and with a total area of 4.92 million hectares. I'd also like to add that we have actually worked on 24 million hectares as of now for the last 10-15 years, which is probably, we are trying to gather data, more data on this, but probably we are the global leaders as far as watershed management is concerned. The central share funds have already been released to the states, and all the states have already started the activities. Next, please. So what is the institutional arrangement we have, just as a backdrop? We'll keep it in mind. There's a state level nodal agency, we call it SLNA, which is basically the principal secretary or the secretary who of the rural development, or in some states the agriculture department, soil conservation department, or whatever. The second in the structure is the watershed cell cum data center, WCDC we call it. And in the project area we have the PIAs and the watershed development team. They and the committees which actually work is the watershed committee, which works in the project area, which consists of the self-help groups, the user groups, the panchayat pratinidhis, etc. So this is the most important, the body which actually works in the project areas. Next, please. And what is the technical strategy we have in place is, you'd see the ridge to valley, again it finds mention, the ridge to valley approach. That is the core in the technical strategy. And what are the other strategic pillars? The first is in situ moisture conservation, very important at the ridge level, where we have all sorts of activities so that the moisture is held and harnessed at the ridge areas, so that the water percolates downstream. Third is the water harvesting structures. This is, as I said, the core in the entire strategy, water harvesting, and of course it fits well with the Catch the Rain campaign. The fourth important is to reduce the runoff velocity by having a series of contour binds, etc., check dams and gully plugs. There are many activities. And then fortification at the mid-level and the lower levels with vegetation, and so on and so forth. Next, please. So if we were to categorize the activities with regard to interventions which would suit the Jal Shakti Abhiyan, these are the two categories. The water harvesting structures will be focusing on farm ponds, check dams, nala bunds, percolation tanks, groundwater recharge structures. And as far as soil moisture conservation activities are concerned, this category would include the staggered trenches, contour bunds, graded bunds, the bench terraces, gully plugs, etc. And what we have also included in this year is the Springship development. This, for the first time, we have introduced the Springship development based on the report from the Niti Aayog and their persuasion. We have included this, and we consider this as to be very important in I think 126 districts all across the Himalayas belt and the northeastern areas, and possibly in the western and the eastern Ghats as well. Next, please. So why is Springship development important for us? One, the Himalayan areas and the, as I said, the northeastern states. There is a steep gradient resulting in fast runoff to rainwater. So very important. That is where we need to start our activities. And of course, these are the other reasons. Drinking water. I think 95 to 100% of the drinking water issues are all related to Springships in these areas, the Himalayan and the northeastern states. Livestock, hill agriculture, protective irrigation for the hill areas, wildlife sustainability, and cultural heritage, of course, recreation. Next, please. So what are the challenges in Springship development? One, of course, the biggest challenge is the drying springs and reduced discharge. Comes out of through many studies with regard to Springships, and the data shows that out of the 5 million springs which we have in the country, 50% is dried or dying. And 126 districts, as I said, are impacted by this. The other challenges are climate change, erratic rainfall pattern. There's a lot of seismic activity in the Himalayas, and because of which springs, which once upon a time would have been bountiful, suddenly gets dried up. So those sort of reasons are there. Ecological degradation. Recharge area different from the discharge area, very important. Those nodal officers who are to go into these areas, the Himalayan states and the northeastern states, you'd find the springs, the recharge area would be somewhere miles apart from the discharge area. So these are the challenges. So it will impact the domestic needs, the agriculture, the industrial water shortage. It will impact the ecosystem, makes the ecosystem poor. It impacts the human and the wildlife, and triggers conflicts, water conflicts. We already started seeing all water conflicts all around, and bound to increase if we don't address the subject, this subject. Next, please. Next, please. So, this is the action plan which we have wanted the states to take up as far as Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain campaign is concerned. First is to do the PRA exercise along with the village communities. So each watershed committee and the watershed development team needs to do a PRA exercise, taking the village community into confidence. And and identify which are the activities, where the activities, the water harnessing activities or the soil moisture conservation activities, etc. are to take place. And the what are the activities which are to be taken up in the watershed projects? These are the listing is as below. Plans have to be prepared for water conservation, and of course rainwater harvesting and water conservation activities, as I said, have to be taken up. Intensive afforestation, moisture conservation activities have to be taken up. Geotagging is to be taken up necessarily. That is what we have instructed rather the states and the UTs, and make inventory of all water bodies. Awareness generation needs to be taken up, and Springship activities. Next, please. We have also instructed that the project manager in the watershed cell cum data center, which is in the district, should be nominated as a member in the Jal Shakti Kendras in the district level for effecting convergence in the activities. Already mentioned, geotagging is to be done for all activities in the Bhuvan. We have a Bhuvan portal and the Jal Shakti Abhiyan portal, both. IC activities, very essential, needs to be taken up at the district level, block level, and the Gram Panchayat level by organizing Jal Sansad, Jal Sammelan, Jal Yatras, etc. And finally, the states and UTs need to submit their feedback reports on the Jal Shakti Abhiyan portal. Next, please. So last two slides, I'll just mention about the Amrit Sarovar. Secretary Jal Shakti has already mentioned about this. This mission was launched on 24th April. Everyone is aware of it. And as has been said, 75 Amrit Sarovars ponds in every district of the country is to be constructed. And it's to be done by 15th August 2023. So our project in the watershed projects, you will find these activities have already started. And many I'll show. There's a clip also. You'll be able to see that it's been already done in many districts. One of the clip I'll be showing to you subsequently. Next, please. The target is 75 Amrit Sarovars, as has been mentioned by Secretary Jal Shakti, and these are the schemes which need to converge. NREGA, Finance Commission, PMKSY, HKKP, PMKSY, WDC, RRR, CAMPA, etc. And the number of Amrit Sarovars, which 75, as we mentioned, which have to be taken up in the district, is to be decided by the district collector. So, which are to be done by NREGA, which are to be done by the watershed project, in the watershed projects, has to be decided by the district collector. So, next, please. I think that's a video clip. So this is. Amrit Sarovar in Kolar district, one of the villages. And it's already been done, completed on, I think I visited on 7th of this month, and it was already done. So many of these Amrit Sarovars are already done. And when you land up in the district, in the state and the district, please try to go into these watershed projects, because as I said, these are the projects where actually you should be when you are there for the Catch the Rain campaign. The most vulnerable and the most water-stressed areas in the state. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. मित्रों, ये बहुत ज़रूरी होता है कि जब भी हम किसी अभियान के साथ जुड़ें तो ज़रूरी है कि हम उसका पर्याय समझें। तो ये जो हमारा जल शक्ति अभियान कैच द रेन 2022 है, इसका पर्याय समझाने के लिए हमारे साथ यहाँ पर उपस्थित हैं एडिशनल सेक्रेटरी एंड मिशन डायरेक्टर नेशनल वाटर मिशन, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ वाटर रिसोर्सेज, रिवर डेवलपमेंट एंड गंगा रिजुविनेशन, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ जल शक्ति, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, मिस देबश्री मुखर्जी, and she is here with her presentation on Introduction to JSA CTR 2022 and role of Central Nodal Officers and Technical Officers. Please put your hands together for her.
Yeah. Thank you. Secretary Water Resources, Secretary Land Resources, colleagues, friends who are present here, and those who are connected virtually. A very good morning to all of you. It's still morning. My task has been made much easier by my preceding speakers, so I will try not to repeat a whole lot of things. I will just focus on what the role of the Central Nodal Officer and the Technical Officer is, because that's a team. So a short presentation. So we've already talked about the fact that JSA 2019 was a national call to action for water conservation and water recharge. The idea is, and the Prime Minister has said it again and again, that water needs to be everybody's business. So, and water scarcity is a major inhibitor of growth in our country. I think we all recognize that. So therefore, the Jal Shakti Abhiyan 2019 was started. It covered 256 districts, and there was substantial work that was done. I'll not repeat the numbers, but what I would like to flag is that the impact went beyond the numbers. States started taking ownership of the program, and a number of states extended this beyond the water-stressed districts, and they covered their entire states, because water is dynamic. A district or an area that is not water stressed today could very easily slip into the water stressed category tomorrow. It depends on extraction, it depends on recharge. So water management has to be central to the development processes, no matter which area you are in. Then when JSA CTR started, we therefore, learning from the states, we expanded coverage to the entire country, all districts. Resources come from convergence. There is no special dedicated fund for the JSA CTR. So states have been asked to converge MG Narega resources. Rural development is one of our major partners. CAMPA resources, Fifth Finance Commission resources, state funds, CSR, whatever resources are available needs to be converged. This slide is, I'm actually not going to go through this slide. This is just broad numbers, but we are not really talking about numbers. We are talking about an approach. There has been, states have reported last year huge numbers of water recharge structures created, a number of water bodies rejuvenated, and huge afforestation activities. MG Narega is dedicating 60% of its resources to national resource management, and most of it is on water conservation and recharge. So resources are available, it's just about using them effectively. This year, National Water Mission, like last year also, National Water Mission is the nodal agency, and we are covering the entire country, both rural as well as urban districts. This was launched on the 29th of March 2022, but what actually encouraged me was that we launched the week after of the World Water Day. However, many states went ahead and launched on the 22nd of March. They didn't wait for us. And this is actually what we want. Our job is to nudge. The ownership has to be with the states, with the communities. So as I said, the nudge states and stakeholders to create appropriate rainwater conservation structures, and with community participation. The interventions, 5 major focused interventions: water conservation and rainwater harvesting. The second point, and I'll sort of emphasize this again, is enumerating, geotagging, and making an inventory of all water bodies. Water bodies tend to disappear, and particularly those of us who have worked in urban districts, we know that water bodies disappear if we don't actually ensure that they're part of the revenue records. Then preparation of scientific plans for water conservation, district level plans for water conservation. Setting up of Jal Shakti Kendras in all districts, intensive afforestation, and awareness generation. So these are a list of and this is just an indicative list. This is not a comprehensive list. States can do more, districts can do more based on what their requirements are. But this is an indicative list of activities that can be taken up on water conservation and rainwater harvesting. This year, as Secretary has said, we are placing special emphasis on revival of wetlands and protection of floodplains, Springship development, protection of water catchment areas, and monitoring progress on Amrit Sarovars. This is just a list, and we will share this presentation, so I'm not going to go into this in detail, of the communications. I mean, since February, we have been writing to states, we've been having a series of meetings. Minister has written to the chief ministers, Secretary DOWR has written to all the state chief secretaries. There has been a joint letter, and this is an all of government effort. The water is interdisciplinary, water works across ministries, across departments. So therefore, we have tried to give it the character of an all of government effort, and therefore 10 secretaries wrote a joint letter to the chief secretaries of all the states about the Jal Shakti Abhiyan and what resources are available to be used to implement those, the Abhiyan. Thereafter, the cabinet secretary had one COS with all the participating ministries, and then he had a meeting with the chief secretaries of all the states. So that has been done. We have had a meeting with the state nodal officers. We had a workshop with them. We broke it up into areas, so arid areas, coastal areas, because different strategies for those areas. But we've had a detailed meeting with the state nodal officers. They're all in place, and the details will be shared with you. Now, who are our sort of eyes and ears and arms for the implementation, or who are the coordinating? So the central nodal officers, who are of the rank of additional secretary, joint secretary, director, etc. The technical officers, they are from Department of Water Resources, Central Water Commission, Central Groundwater Board, NIH, CSMRS. So the central nodal officer and the technical officer are a team. So whenever you have meetings with the districts, whenever you visit, it should be done as a team, because the technical officer will provide the technical support to the central nodal officer for whatever, for understanding, for review, etc. So therefore, we see the central nodal officer and the technical officer as a team. The state nodal officers are largely ACSs, principal secretaries and secretaries, and they have been tasked with coordinating with all the state departments, and thereafter there are district nodal officers. The central team, now when we went to the cabinet secretary with the proposal to send central nodal officers, we were told that don't take too many officers away for too long. And so therefore what we've done is that for the water stress district largely, we have one team of central nodal officer and technical officer. For the non-water stress districts, we have tried to give 2 districts to each team. Also, we have you know, the last time that the teams had gone, they had made 3 visits. But we found now that this program is becoming institutionalized in the states. The states are taking ownership. So therefore, as a nudge role, I think 1 visit would suffice. So therefore, we are requesting you to make 1 visit per district. So if you are the nodal officer or technical officer for 2 districts, then you will have to make 2 visits, but otherwise 1 visit per district. And we are also giving you flexibility to make this visit between 20th of May to the 20th of July. So based on your, you know, official engagements, etc., to make the visit, but also check with the districts. In some districts, you know, we're already looking at flooding, etc., so that it may ebb in the next. So whatever data is available in terms of IMD, find the best time to visit so that you can actually see what is happening in the district. We are also requesting you that apart from the visit, please, in virtual mode, monitor the work that the districts are doing in the, for the Jal Shakti Abhiyan. So you could do it once a fortnight or once a month. Maybe once a fortnight would be good because this is a limited time program. So, but work it out for yourself at least once a month. We are also requesting you to stay in the district for a minimum of 3 days. And obviously you will plan it out with the district magistrate or the deputy commissioner. So the role of the central nodal officers. We don't expect you, obviously, in your visits to get a total overview, to get a total, you know, whatever is happening, you'll not be able to visit. So a dipstick approach would be interesting. The one, obviously, get a briefing on what is happening, and areas of emphasis I will come to later. The areas, water conservation, what is happening, spring shed development in areas which have springs, what is happening on intensive afforestation, reuse and recharge structures, what are they doing about renovation of traditional water bodies. I attract your attention to bowlies and step wells. So if districts have bowlies and step wells, is the community being mobilized to actually renovate them and rejuvenate them? Wetland protection. Community mobilization is key. So how is the community being mobilized? In a lot of states, for instance, Orissa made a presentation last time, and Orissa said that they have 9 or 10 departments involved in this program. And they are involving all the community organizations of those departments. So urban is involving the slum dwellers associations and the resident welfare associations. Rural development is involving the RWAs. There are Mahila Mandals. So therefore, so the community mobilization is not just limited to panchayats and village water and sanitation committees. We need to get everybody on board. So how is the community mobilization being done? Geotagging of water bodies. This is a huge, and for the last 2 years we've been emphasizing this. Has it been done? Has it been completed? So, areas of emphasis. Again, there's a lot of work that's been happening under MG Narega, etc., on water conservation and recharge. We're seeing some of the results. In many, many areas, we are seeing an increase in the water table already. However, we'd like to do it scientifically. And Mr. Sriram Vediri will talk about the GIS-enabled district water conservation plans. Resources have been made available to districts to engage a GIS expert to create the district water conservation plan. So has it been prepared? Is it being used? If it has been prepared, is it being used to prioritize interventions? And have all water bodies been geotagged and entered in the revenue records? I can't emphasize this enough. Are all departments, concerned departments, being mobilized? Are communities being engaged? And, you know, is there a special effort? We'd like to, you know, look at gender participation in the Jal Shakti Abhiyan. So is there a special effort to engage women? The third is that, you know, more than 400 districts have reported that the Jal Shakti Kendras have been set up. We'd like a qualitative assessment from you on, you know, how the Jal Shakti Kendra is functioning and what is it good, is it bad? Because then we can learn from that and then maybe, you know, standardize a model. And the last is document good practices with pictures. I assure you that whatever you document, we will read through very carefully and we will use it for, you know, strengthening the Jal Shakti Abhiyan in the years to come. So please spend that time. We have created a very simple Google form so that you don't have to input too much any data or anything. But we still request you to specifically whatever strikes you as good. So I've talked about good practices, but whatever you think are the gaps also, please document. It will be of great use to us in terms of, you know, refining our approaches going forward. This is a quick day-wise activities, and I think you will, you know, moderate that based on your understanding of what is happening in the district. First, get a briefing. Then, you know, Amrit Sarovars, Jal Shakti Kendras, we've talked about areas of emphasis, and DMDCs can discuss their plans. So thereafter, you look at a dipstick approach to visit sites. Then day 2, we are looking at site visits and field inspections. Focus on Amrit Sarovars also. And please inspect the Jal Shakti Kendra if it exists. See if it's, you know, putting together all the water-related activities of the district. See if it's responding. There are 2 or 3 things that we want the Jal Shakti Kendras to do. It's a knowledge center for water-related activities. Also, we would like that it responds to water-related queries from various agencies and also citizens. So this is a very fledgling initiative. And your inputs will be of great value to us. So please look at that. Now, so this is, you know, sort of debrief. And so, you know, you go back to the district authorities, have a discussion with them, and whatever advice that you, but remember, we are a nudge role. The actors are the district authorities, the actors are the state authorities. So we are really there, you know, we are not monitors. We are there as a kind of, you know, facilitators. We are there to nudge district authorities. So, I mean, all of you are very, very senior officers. You know the best way to manage this entire exercise. So this is just a sample of the Google form. It's a yes or no kind of thing. So we're not going to get you into too much of data filling or anything like that. This is on our Jal Shakti Abhiyan portal, and you can access it through that. Thereafter, but the qualitative report is something that we are really, really interested in. So I hope all of you will have fun, learn about water, you know, and also the inputs that you provide will be of great use to all of us. I'll just, I mean, this is my last slide, but as I was listening to everybody, I just thought of 2 other things that I wanted to say. What we will share with you is a list of, which we have not put into your folders now, but I think that would be of value to you, is we will send you a list and a write-up on all water-related schemes that are there in the district. So that, you know, sir spoke about watersheds, we have PMKSY, a number of schemes. So that may be of use to you to see how those schemes are coming together in terms of a convergent approach to water resource management in the district. So we will share that with you. The second thing that I just want to mention are the resources that are already available. Now, there is the NAQUIM, the National Aquifer Mapping data. It is there on the National Water Informatics Center portal. We'll send you a link to that. So most of the country has been mapped. So if your district, the NAQUIM is available, you might want to just go through it and look at what the groundwater situation is there, and is the district using the NAQUIM data to plan their interventions. So that is one. The second resource is, for the last year and a half, every second Saturday, the National Water Mission has been doing dialogues with DMs. So more than 100 districts have presented the work that they're doing on water conservation. This is there on our Jal Shakti Abhiyan site. So if your district has been covered in the dialogues with DMs, just take a look at this. The DMs may have changed, but you'll get an idea of the profile of the district and the work that has happened in the last 2 years. It's very interesting, I assure you. The brief on water-related schemes and programs we will send to you. So I hope that, you know, your visits will be of value both to you as well as to the National Water Mission, as well as to the states and the districts. We have shared with the state authorities a list of NGOs as well. We are not paying these NGOs anything, but they have expressed an interest in being associated with the Jal Shakti Abhiyan. So that list we will also share with you. We have mapped out the NGOs in terms of their area of work and their geographical area of interest. So if the district authorities use those NGOs, that's also of value. So I'll stop here and wish everybody a wonderful experience in terms of being the Central Nodal Officer and Technical Officer of the Jal Shakti Abhiyan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. As ma'am has introduced us actually to this Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain 2022, so we would really like to extend our thanks to her. पर जैसा कि मैम ने कहा कि आप सभी लोग जो हैं इसके सेंट्रल नोडल ऑफिसर्स हैं, टेक्निकल ऑफिसर्स हैं, तो जानकारी जो है वो हमेशा हम सभी लोगों के लिए एक ढाल के रूप में काम करती है। और जब भी कोई कार्य करना हो तो एक बात को हमेशा ख्याल रखिएगा कि कुछ कर गुजरने के लिए मौसम नहीं, मन चाहिए। Sometimes we complain a lot कि हमारे पास ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है, तो कुछ कर गुजरने के लिए मौसम नहीं, मन चाहिए, साधन सभी जुट जाएंगे, संकल्प का धन चाहिए। So once you have that संकल्प, तो संकल्प का कोई विकल्प नहीं होता। एक बार संकल्प आपके पास है तो जीत होगी ही होगी, और जल संरक्षण का जो बीड़ा आप सभी लोगों ने उठाया है उसे पूरी तरीके से आप लोग आगे लेकर जा सकेंगे। और इसके साथ ही अब मैं आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी एडवाइज़र टू ऑनरेबल मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ जल शक्ति गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया who is going to give us a presentation on GIS based scientific water conservation plan and inventorization of water bodies for Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain 2022. Please put your hands together for Shri Ram Videre.
Secretary, Department of Water Resources, Secretary, Department of Land Resources, Mission Director, National Water Mission, Joint Secretary, RD, Senior Officers, Central Nodal Officers and Technical Officers attending today's workshop. A very good morning. Well, in this presentation, I would like to cover a very important aspect of this year's Jal Shakti Abhiyan, which is the GIS-based water conservation plans, which we expect all the districts to prepare, and inventorization of all the water bodies that are part of the district. Next, please. This part is already covered by the mission director. In 2019, when it started, we know the objectives which were and the activities that are listed here. Most of these objectives were very much achieved. In fact, it was an overachievement in 2019 because most of you already have gone to the field and you know what was done in 2019. And next. In 2020, next slide please. In 2021, the second phase of the Abhiyan, The area, of course, covered the whole country. And the theme, catch the rain where it falls, when it falls. And the objectives and activities have been expanded, in which we emphasized more on enumerating, geotagging, and making inventory of all water bodies in the district, and preparation of scientific water conservation plans at the district level, apart from the other objectives which are already have been covered. And we have been working with all the district DMs and DCs, and through various video conferences, etc. Since last year, the central nodal officers could not go to the field. So the preparation of these scientific water conservation plans and enumerating of all this geotagged inventory has started last year. Next, please. And this year, already touched upon by earlier speakers, the objectives have been expanded very carefully and holistically. And one of the important aspects have been renovation of traditional water bodies as well. And the other objectives you can see. And removal of encroachments is also one of the important tasks. Next. And again, revival of wetlands, Springship development, and rejuvenation of rivers, rivulets, where it's not just the major rivers, but even the streams and small kinds of rivers also. Rejuvenation. Rejuvenation has a big, wider perspective. It's it has everything like what you can do for cleaning up a stream to getting it flowed fully, and removal of encroachments, etc. And for all this to happen, the basic thing which I want to touch upon today is the enumerating, geotagging of all the inventory of all water bodies in the district, followed by a preparation of scientific district water conservation plan. Next. So what we have asked the DMs and DCs to do, we asked them, please follow a scientific approach, because most of the states have already been doing this. Some states and districts rather need to pick up. And so what we said was that, go with a scientific approach, and Ridge to Valley watershed concept, which Secretary Land Resources has very much emphasized, and GIS-based technologies. Use these technologies to either inventorize or prepare plans for your future construction. And for all this to happen, at the planning stage itself, that is when you do this planning, please converge the activities of all water management related departments. This is very crucial because typically the isolation, is very much there in various various states, in various areas, including water management, where in silos the work happens. So when at the planning stage itself, you can converge the nodal officers at the district level, then the planning would be more holistic. And what we said by using GIS RS technologies, we asked them to do 2 steps. Step 1, first of all, identify and prepare inventory of all existing water bodies, water harvesting structures in your district. And while doing so, in the next slides, I will present to you how that could happen. And once that is being done, they would also, the ground truthing engineers in the districts and blocks and villages, they would also write a note whether that particular water harvesting structure or water body needs to be repaired or renovated. The second thing, the second step followed by the first step, is to identify locations of new water bodies and water harvesting structures where you are preparing plans for the future. That's step 2. Next, please. So what we have requested, all DCs and DMs, there are very expensive softwares, expensive tools, and various states and districts have already started engaging various the state remote sensing agencies are there, ISRO is there, and NRSC is there, and even the revenue departments are digitalizing their records. So various forest department is doing their own way, land resources, etc. But what we said was, if you have those tools, please use them. But the basic free tool that is available, which we have suggested, is the Google Imageries, which is free of cost available to anyone. So we asked them to go to the Google Imageries, and if you look at the pictures in the slide, they would enumerate the GIS experts sitting in the district. We have requested all DMs, DCs to hire a GIS expert. And we have also partially, whatever we could, we funded last year for 2 lakhs per district, I believe. And so we wanted them to hire the GIS expert who would do this work. He would sit on the Google imageries and collect, and first of all, before we do that, tons of information on the existing water bodies is available in various Government of India portals. Like for example, Secretary of Land Resources mentioned Bhuvan. In Bhuvan, we have the Manrega data, we have the IWMP data, and in Waris, which is managed by our ministry, you have again lots of data related to surface water, groundwater, and various water bodies in your districts. And not only that, the Jal Shakti Abhiyan portal, which we have, that also has a lot of information which you can visit and see before you go. That is for you to have an understanding of your district. But what we ask the DCs and DMs is, apart from collecting the information, existing information, and compiling it, we ask them to locate each and every water body that is available in their district using the Google imagery, and that can be done by pointing the particular structure, and you can see the submergence area, based on which you can calculate this volume, the size, and also the health of the water body, and these can be prepared as an inventory. Next. And once they do for all these structures, what they prepare is called a Kmz layer. This is a file protocol of Google, and basically that layer is prepared by the GIS expert, and he would give it to the district authorities. And what the DC DM is expected to do, they would hand over this file having the information of all these structures to the corresponding engineers of various departments, line departments listed there, related to water management, for ground truthing, and at the village level, block level, and obviously the structures related to their particular line of activity. Next. And this is what typically, before the ground truthing happens, the GIS expert would have given the type of activity, and the quantity and the condition, whether it is repairable, and etc., the submergence, the volume, all these things are there in your file. I mean, in your file in the sense, the ground truthing engineers in the districts. And then once the ground truthing needs to happen, we have created a mobile application we have developed, which is called JSA:CTR. It's there in Google Play Store. We have given it to all the districts last year, and we expected them to use it, and most of the districts used it. Using this mobile app, the ground truthing engineers would actually go to the field, and with the list that they have, master list they have that is provided in the Kmz file by the GIS expert, they would cross-check and ensure that they would ground truth and check that it is there in the field. And with using the mobile app, so next please. This mobile app has various information, and I just don't want to go too detail into this, but basically they could geotag existing structure, geotag new structure that is to be planned, and basically update whatever existing structures information they would already have last year or before years. So what they would do is use this mobile app, and with the credentials etc. already shared with them. Next please. So they would fill in all these details, like whether it is basic details of what is the size, what is the health, which department, what quantity, quality, longitude, latitude, picture of the water body, etc. They would capture and upload. Next. So this is the indicative list of for agriculture, horticulture departments, the types of structures like open well, tube well, farm ponds related to agriculture, horticulture, and what are all the parameters that have to be noted for that particular structures are located, are given there, the quantity, the size, etc. And for groundwater department, you see that things change a little bit. What are the monitoring stations? What is the water volume that is available in various quarters, etc. Next. So all this information, for example, PR, RD, watershed, forest, WRD, the type of structure, and basically whether what is whether it is needs to be repaired, renovated, desilting is needed, and status, and the size, everything is mentioned as per the structures, corresponding structures credentials. Next. So PHED again, drinking water, this is one of the most important, like what kinds of open wells or dug wells or hand pumps or piezometers or what kinds of wells are there, what is the TDS levels, chemicals, all these things. And again, as Director National Water Mission suggested, touched upon, the revenue records that are already there in the district. So that would be also forming a part of their ground truthing and ensuring that everything is mapped well. Next. Next. So this is what step 1 is. Basically, to summarize, we have asked them to make a detailed inventory of all these water bodies, water harvesting structures, and prepare plans for the repair innovation. When the ground truthing happens, the corresponding engineers would make a note of each structure wherever it is required. And the contents, using the mobile app, whatever the contents are captured, would be transferred to the central servers, to our Jal Shakti Abhiyan, our National Water Mission's portal. And then the actual implementation happens wherever the renovation repair needs to happen using Mahatma Gandhi Narega and other likely schemes and funds, that can be done. Next. That was step 1. So step 1 covers so far whatever water bodies, water harvesting structures that are available in the field, their enumeration, geotagging, uploading to the portal, and apart from that, ensuring that repair and renovation happens this year only. Like every year it happens, it also continues this year. And the step 2, this is very important, a little technical. I just don't want to go too much into this, but just to give you a heads up of what exactly we ask the DMs and DCs to do. There is a shape files, what we call, where every district, like the state remote sensing agencies and most of the, I said, revenue departments have, are taking the data from the satellites also. They pay ISRO and take some data. So there are shape files which has the information of all the drains, like all the streams, drains, rivers, rivulets, etc. in their inventory. They already have. Even if they don't have, they can get them from the SRSC ISRO centers. Like SRTM 30-meter resolution is freely available, and ISRO's Cartosat 2.5 meter is freely available. Apart from that, there are lots of new, good resolution imageries that are being developed and even being given, sometimes free of cost, and where we need to pay, but with a nominal cost, it is being procured by the states. What we said, superimpose the existing structures that have been inventorized in the step 1 onto these drainage maps. Once they do that, then what they would, it would be clear for the GIS experts is, which are all the drains and streams that have been not yet worked upon. They would know where are the streams that still can take more structures, and where existing structures are there, whether they are overloaded, and why, match the things vice versa, and try to prepare the new plans. So this is where step 2, we said untapped streams and drains wherever they are there, locate, identify, and based on the ridge to valley approach, as Secretary Land Resources emphasized repeatedly, the first order stream, second order stream, third order, fourth order, you can't go check dams on first order. You can only go with velocity reduction things like staggered trenches and continuous contour trenches and deep CCTs, etc. Whereas in step order 3 and order 4, you can go with check dams and anickets. So there is a laid out procedure for watershed, Springship, and developments, and with this ridge to valley approach and all these other technologies in the watershed management, which we have given detailed note to districts, they would identify locations for the new feasible structures. Once they do it, the GIS expert will be helping the field engineers all through the process. And once these plans are prepared, this is a one-time thing which they would do, which they have started last year, and we expect they finish this year, they complete, hopefully. And then once these plans are prepared, in the next few years, maybe 4 to 5 years, they can plan on execution of these new water harvesting structures and water bodies. So this is a one-time thing where they would plan and prepare the district water conservation plans. Next. So I just touch upon 2 slides on ridge to valley, watershed approach, and water budgeting. Again, this is all detailed we have given to the districts. As we see on the left side, how the ridge to valley, the rainwater, the surface water, the soil moisture and the groundwater. These are the various components of water which needs to be worked upon while preparing the plans. And the watershed approach where, you know, all the order of streams, etc., plus coupled with the water budgeting, which we have been emphasizing, and various schemes our ministry runs, like Atal Bhujal Yojana, where Devshri ji leads the program, and various other programs which our ministry is you know, helping the states to work upon. We emphasize the water budgeting very much, and this is something where even most of the districts actually realized and started doing this. It is, you know, balance between drinking water and irrigation, and all these, you know, convergence of various things in doing the water budgeting. These three things coupled, that would form the basis for the preparation of the plans. Next. Next, please. And convergence is very, very important. This we have experienced, you know, when we were working in various states. I myself got an experience in Rajasthan working on Mukhyamantri Jal Swavalaman Abhiyan, where we have converged almost 10 to 11 line departments working in water management sector area, and at the planning stage itself. That would give a head start while, you know, once you do the basement correct, you know, of the structure, like of a building, then how many number of stories you plan, you know, it's going to be intact and very perfect. So this is where the convergence is very important. Next, please. And this is again, you know, usage of technologies, as we mentioned, the GIS and RS technologies and various data available, could base maps, contour maps, and LULC maps, slope maps, drainage maps, and all these things are abundantly available. Earlier we used to get very, you know, coarse resolution, but right now very high resolution pictures and images are available from our own satellites, and all these things can be utilized by the districts. Most of them are using. We still encourage to use, and when you go and you visit the district and you sit with the team, you also look at how much of these things are being used and utilized in their process. Next. This is one just picture I just wanted to show, like a simple open well which has been dug in the valley area. Once whatever things have happened for recharge, doing a recharge in the ridges, this is what you simply see the water springing up in the well. And this could be used for drinking water for villages. This is very simple, no extra engineering or any kind of engineering at all. Simple open well that gets water to you, if you do the ridge to valley approach correctly. Next. So again, ma'am has touched upon all these aspects. I just don't want to repeat. But one thing is, please encourage the districts which we have asked that they upload the data, even though they does the work. Most of the districts, they do the work, but uploading is a problem because sometimes the network is not there for the mobile app. They can always, you know, send it in a day in frequency or weekly frequency if they have network issues. But please do encourage them to upload, because once we upload this data to JSA servers, we would have a master database of, you know, whether it's Land Resources Ministry or other ministries, agriculture, etc., MOEF, we would have a master database, and that would make life easier, because the more the accuracy of data, the more good planning and execution we can do. Next. And again, Jal Shakti Kendra, Secretary touched upon it, and ma'am touched upon it. This is where, you know, please ensure that the Jal Shakti Kendra, when they are operating and helping the district in the execution of this program, please ensure that the scientific planning which we have seen now is part and parcel of that Jal Shakti Kendra's ability to help the team in the district. Next. And IEC awareness, you know, this is something which please use technology also. Whatever you do, try to post it online and encourage various groups to see and comment and all that. And this is again usage of technology in IEC also. Next. And the last two slides, and basically as I just want to summarize the actions to be taken by the states. We said hire a GIS expert, and stage one planning, step one, renovate, you know, inventorize all the whatever inventory you have, like all the water bodies and structures, and enumerate them, geotag them, and upload it to the servers. And then the second part of step one is to renovate and repair wherever needed. And step two, new development of, you know, preparation of district water conservation plans based on the data that you already have in step one, plus your traditional, your scientific approach in watershed management and other approaches. Combined with that, coupled with that, you prepare the plans and upload the data and use it in Jal Shakti Kendras and etc. Next. And this is the expectations. I think ma'am covered this, and the first part is mostly emphasizes what we have just touched upon. Like, when you go to the district and review the, just check on what planning they have done. Please ensure that, this will be shared with all of you. So, how they are enumerated, whether the scientific approach is planned, whether they have used the mobile app or not, and if not, encourage them to use, and ensure that the updation happens, uploading happens, and then the next 5 or something which my own thoughts, I'm taking permission of Director NWM to just share those with you. You can also, do the Shramdan when you go, and have DCDM to set up a Shramdan one of the 3 days, and you yourself participate in it and inspect, that she touched upon, and discussion with community, of course, and media coverage, media coverage, and the one success story of the previous JSA, which you can emphasize to the media and publish. These are all some things you can always do. Next. Last slide. And this is where, most of the technical officers working in the workshop today, participating in the workshop, they know that our ministry has various programs, even Government of India, like Jal Jeevan Mission. The source of connectivity and source sustainability is very much important for giving water to every household using a tap water connection. And where does the source come from? Jal Shakti Abhiyan, which we are going to be part of, is one of the programs that would ensure source connectivity and source sustainability. Similarly, one of the things which we are working upon on our groundwater side is making the invisible visible. That is, identification of the invisible, which is the aquifer, make it visible. We are doing aquifer management programs. And river basin management is one of the important aspects which our secretary is working upon, and basically we are trying to get an act out of Parliament, and the River Basin Management Act, which would set up river basin management boards, which would have a holistic plan and approach, and your district water conservation plans would form a basis for this overall river basin management. And river rejuvenation and pollution abatement, NMCG or Mission Clean Ganga, that would, and the Jal Shakti Abhiyan activities which we would take in this Abhiyan would also form part of this greater approach that we are doing. And finally, we are developing a world-class decision support system through our NWIC, one of our wings of our ministry. And this would have everything of everything from real-time, the GIS, mobile, server-based, digital-based, sensor-based, gadget-based, all kinds of IoT things which are being planned. And it would be an integration repository of all the data. And this data that builds upon the Jal Shakti Abhiyan would definitely give us more impetus to that program as well. And next, I think that is all I had. So thanks for giving me the opportunity. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू सो मच सर। मित्रों, जो चीज़ किसी को जीवन दान दे तो उसे अमृत ही कहा जाता है, और जब अंबर से अमृत बरसता हो तो उस अमृत को एकत्र करना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी होता है। इसीलिए वी आर गोइंग टू हैव आवर नेक्स्ट प्रेजेंटेशन ऑन मिशन अमृत सरोवर। वी हैव विद अस जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी DORD गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया श्री अमित कटारिया जी। सो प्लीज पुट योर हैंड्स टुगेदर फॉर हिम।
Good afternoon, everybody. Our previous speakers have mentioned about Amrit Sarovar in their remarks. I would be giving the detailed presentation on the complete Amrit Sarovar mission and how it is being implemented for the benefit of all, so that you are aware what activities we are taking and also what you have to look for during your visits to the districts. Next, please. The importance of Amrit Sarovar cannot be overemphasized. It is part of our lakes, ponds. They are part of our social life right from ages. And it is also become a part of our Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. And Prime Minister has given, as the Secretary Water Resources has already mentioned, a clarion call for building 75 Amrit Sarovars in each district. The objective is also to boost income generation and employment, and also have additional water holding capacity of 50 crores cubic meters, which is to be created through these Amrit Sarovars. Next. This was launched on 24th April 22 on National Panchayati Raj Day by Honorable Prime Minister. The objective is to create 75 Amrit Sarovars in each district. The minimum pondage area is 1 acre and the water holding capacity is to be 10,000 cubic meters. So the total numbers of Amrit Sarovars which are to be constructed overall are about 50,000. There would be maximum use of technology at all stages of implementation. There has to be a site for flag hoisting on every 15th August on these ponds, as these are parts of the, this is a component of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. There has to be people's participation at all stages of development. And the main focus is on actual water conservation, and the other works which like beautification works, etc., they are not to be taken up as part of from the public funds, but they are to be developed. So this is the mission overall. The technical parts which are important and which has to be taken care of, that the main component is the pondage area development, which is the prime focus of the overall mission. However, the treatment of catchment, including plantation and water conservation measures, these has also to be taken care of. The improvement of drainage channel, including dredging, bank stabilization, encroachment removal, they are also part of the overall development. The grey water treatment structure is also important, since many of our ponds become dirty because of incoming grey waters. The development of proper inlet outlet structures are also very important. The construction of bunds with proper compaction, maintenance of side slopes, turfing, etc., plantation, all these technical features need to be looked after, because we have seen in our earlier development of new water bodies that many of our ponds are without water because of some or the other technical faults in the construction of the ponds. So these all technical these are essential elements of the development, and we as the nodal agency of the overall mission, as a Rural Development Ministry being the nodal, we are taking care of these part, but I'm just mentioning it so that you are also aware that these parts must be taken care of. And additionally, a platform for flag hoisting is to be done at the water body. Next. It's a whole of government approach. All the ministries which are concerned with water conservation and also related to the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav campaign, they are all included in this program. MORD, Jal Shakti, Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Panchayati Raj, Environment, and also BISEC, which is the technical partner for this mission. Next, please. The funding is primarily from NREGA and watershed development components, as Secretary LR has also mentioned. Also, 15 Finance Commission grants of Ministry of Panchayati Raj and Department of Water, Drinking Water and Sanitation, and Har Khet Ko Pani of the scheme of Ministry of Water Resources. In addition to the schemes, the public contribution is also an important part, maybe crowdfunding, CSR funding. All these fundings are also being taken as part of the overall funding. There has been a joint advisory issued by the participating ministries. The Jal Shakti Abhiyan CTR, for which we are here today, this is also a platform for amplifying and monitoring the Amrit Sarovar mission. There is a common signage and logo for this program, and also a common IT portal and a mobile app. The first step, which is being done during the last 1.5 months, is the selection of sites, and we are using technology in the form of a portal developed by the BISEG, and this is using the remote sensing and the space technologies for listing these sites. These are indicative sites. Around 100 sites per district have been generated by BISEG. They might not be absolutely correct, and there might be some issue, like some already enclosed area might be taken up, but these are indicative sites, including new and the sites which are to be rejuvenated. So, and a portal for that has been developed, which is used for checking the technical feasibility of these sites. Next, please. However, the district administration and the concerned officials are having a technical and administrative feasibility done by joint site visits, and a tentative site list of feasible sites have been prepared. It is in some of the districts it has been done, and for some it is being at the stage of finalization. Finally, we have to have 75 sites, but the district has been given the option to take up even more. The focus is on water stressed blocks, especially with reference to drinking water, and also it focus on villages associated with freedom fighters or martyrs, as this to coincide it with the 75th Independence Day. Approval by special Gram Sabha is made compulsory, so that we have an inclusive approach of the villagers also. Next, please. Technology is being used on a very good scale, and we have a portal, we have a mobile app, and also the space and geospatial technology has been used for, as I have already said, for identification. Next, please. This is the Amrit Sarovar portal. All the data, all the progress reports, and also the listing of sites, it is there on the portal. You can also go through it. Next, please. And also a mobile app has been developed. The main purpose is for inspection, and also the geotagging and geofencing of the water body, which is to be developed. Next, please. For monitoring, right now we are using the Amrit Sarovar portal. The progress is updated on a daily basis, and also the mobile app. These have been developed by BISEG. Data sharing is by program application itself. We have an API being developed, which will give. We have linked NREGA MIS to this portal. We are, if other schemes, we are trying to get other schemes also integrated with it, but if that is not possible, even data can be entered in that. Geotagging of all assets is being done, and there are 2 additional tools which we use in NREGA also, the NMMS app, which is a real-time attendance system, and also a monitoring app of area officer app. These apps are being used already in NREGA, and we will be using it for Amrit Sarovar also. For physical inspection, 2 dedicated prabharis for each Amrit Sarovars are to be appointed. One a Panchayat Pratinidhi, basically a public representative, and a Panchayat level officer, mostly the Sachiv or the secretary of the Panchayats. Next, please. People's participation is key component of the overall mission at all the stages. At the pre-construction phase, the foundation layings is to be done by the freedom fighters or their families, or martyrs' family, or Padma awardee, and if no such citizen is available, then the eldest citizen of that local Gram Panchayat. The community events are to be held, and also a board is to be installed to commemorate the occasion. During construction phase, Gram Panchayat nominated supervisor, as I already told, it will monitor the progress. There has to be, there might be donations for materials, the Shramdan, all these activities are to be taken. Also the silt component is also to be disposed of, so that is to be done by the Gram Panchayat so that it is fairly distributed, as it is mostly much in demand. Next please. Post-construction, there has to be a flag hoisting at Amrit Sarovar on every 15th of August, where the freedom fighters' families or martyrs, they have to be, they can be called. Also plantation of, we have indicative list of neem, people and bargad. This is to be done around the Amrit Sarovar. And a commemorative plantation on 15th August 22 is to be done. The users of the water body, they are to be fully involved so that a proper long-term care can be taken of the water body, and because the users are the real the issues like encroachment or fair disposal of fair use of water, these can be taken care of. Next please. Documentation is being done, and I suggest if you visit, then you can also add on to the overall documentation which we are doing. Next please. There is an awards and felicitation program also. We'll be doing a felicitation of Gram Panchayats and awards at district level for 3 Gram Panchayats, 3 districts, and also at national level for 5 states. Next. There are 2 levels of monitoring. Mainly it is at the cutting edge level is the district, the DM or the collectors, they have to finalize the sites, arrange preparation for DPR, earmark sourcing of funds and arranging approvals, monitoring, troubleshooting and coordination, all the IC activities and documentations. So the key activities are done at the district level. We have the collectors also, and the for Mahatma Gandhi Narega, we have our CO Zilla Panchayats and the program officer of Narega. So, and for others schemes also, there are officials at the district level who can work under the collector for the overall working of this project. Next please. This is a sample, which is a sample foundation of the board. Next please. The timelines are, the mission has been launched on 24th April 22. 20% of the Amrit Sarovars are to be completed by 15th August 22, and the remaining all are to be finished by 15th August 23. This is the deadlines given by the government. So far the launch has been done. The joint advisory has been signed by all concerned ministries. Guidelines of the schemes has been issued to states and the participating ministries. Orientation has been done, and the Amrit Sarovar portal is developed. The work is just in, like in some of the states it has started, but mostly it is just in the stage of site identification, or it has just started. Next please. There are state nodal officers, which are mainly the secretary or the principal secretary of the rural development of the state, and they are responsible overall for the implementation and monitoring and overall outcome, coordination, monthly review, and to apprise the chief secretary of the, because there is a state level committee, and also take action on the feedback, etc. Next please. Also arranging updation of data and the completion. So overall in charge at the state level will be the secretary or the principal secretary of the rural development, who is designated as the state nodal officer. Next. There are also central scheme nodal officers of each scheme. They are the in charge joint secretary of the scheme program, and they will monitor and will monitor the scheme from the point of view of the scheme which the funding is being done, and they shall ensure completion of the Amrit Sarovars and removal of bottlenecks from the point of view of the schemes of the ministry. Next please. since Amrit Sarovar is the major component of the JSA CTR 2223, but in addition, there are other works also which are being taken in NREGA, and you are aware that in fact the most water conservation works are in NREGA only, and so it is the most important scheme as far as CTR is concerned, and I would like to call on you that you can visit the blocks and the village panchayats with the point of, with regard to having a look at the works of NREGA, and the scheme should be very clear in the sense that how works are being taken under NREGA and what are the components of NREGA, how muster roll is issued or how the work is done. So this is, I'm very sure everybody is aware, but this is most of the works will be under this scheme only. Previously, our experience is also, I've just listed that 60% expenditure on NRM works is in sync with the objectives of the JSA CTR. In the first phase also, 3 lakhs work were completed and around 3,000 crore expenditure was done. In 21-22 CTR also, 28 lakhs works were completed and with an expenditure of 60,000 crores. Just to give we had a presentation on GIS that we have also completed GIS plan in the villages in about 2.58 lakh gram panchayats out of 2.69 lakh gram panchayat, and the approach is ridge to valley only. At present, we have all the works identified and approved because this is the working season. As you know, the April, May, June before the monsoon is the key season for NREGA, and the shelf of works for all the water conservation works and also other works in NREGA, they are identified and ready to go. So any new work under CTR can also be taken up if you see that something unique or innovative is there in that district. For that, the role of the nodals in the Rural Development Ministry, mainly Commissioner Manrega and also the POs or the APOs at the district level, their role is, will be the key. Next, please. So, just to summarize, the role of central nodal officers with regard to Amrit Sarovar is just, I have just mentioned that to keep oneself apprised of the planning and implementation of the mission in the allotted district, you can just go through the guideline, and also I have mentioned everything in the presentation also, but you can see and have the review the progress and ensure that this project is done in a time-bound manner. Also to visit some works of Amrit Sarovar during your field visits, and also coordinate with the CSNOs and the state nodal officers and district nodal officers for resolving any issues encountered in the district. Next, please. There is a format of inspection which we have prepared. This is just for your reference. I will not go through it. So it has few points. You can just check as per that whether the construction or the work is going on as per these checklist only. Next, please. Next. Next. So thank you so much and all the best for your visits.
Thank you so much, sir. And now, my dear friends, we are going to have a presentation of inventorization and rejuvenation of springs, which is really important. And we have with us Director, National Institute of Hydrology, Roorkee, Uttarakhand, Shri J.V. Tyagi. Please put your hands together for him. I welcome you, sir, on the stage.
Good afternoon to all. The National Institute of Hydrology has been working on inventorization and revival of springs for quite some time now. We are geotagging the springs and also collecting lot of data on various characteristics of these springs in the Western Himalayan region. And this data is being collected through a mobile app at the site. Then this data is being transferred to a web GIS portal which we have developed at NIH and named as NIH Ishwar. Means Indian Information System on Himalayan Springs for Vulnerability Assessment and Rejuvenation. So that WebGIS portal we have developed, and so that this information is available in public domain for the stakeholders. And then we are also conducting a number of workshops and training programs on spring shed management in the Western Himalayan region. And recently we have started this program in Northeastern region also, and we last month only concluded one training program in collaboration with Nihari and Narivalam. And we are planning to conduct these workshops and training programs on spring shed management in a big way. Now I have with me one of my scientists, Dr. Deepak Beast, who is dedicatedly working on this spring shed management and was instrumental in developing this Ishwar portal. So I would request and invite Dr. Deepak Singh Beast to present the details of what we are doing and how we are collecting the data, how we are transferring, and how this data is useful to the stakeholders. So Dr. Deepak Beast.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Before I start, the spring which we are looking in this spring is a Papnasni spring, and it is located in Sud Mahadev, Udhampur district. It has a religious importance, and it also serves the local community by providing water to meet their demand, and it is in good shape, so this is good news. Okay, so when we talk about springs, the people who have not lived in space in places where springs are not available, so for them it becomes very difficult to comprehend the fact that springs are very crucial and important for for people living in mountain region to meet their water requirement, as they become the only source of water. Since the water which flows in river or which are available in the glaciers becomes very difficult to fetch, and it is also not technically feasible sometimes. When we look into the Niti Aayog report, it says that 50 million inhabitants of Indian Himalayan region directly depend on the spring water, and there is hardly any river which is not fed by these springs. These springs are known by different names in different places, like Chasma, Nag, Nadu, Dhara, Bauli, etc. across India. If you look into the landscape of spring in our country, we can see that it is found in certain pockets. Indian Himalayan region, it is found in 9 states, in Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, Tripura, Himachal and Uttarakhand. Then 2 UTs, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. Then 6 hill districts of Assam and West Bengal. Then we also find some spring in central India, in western Ghats and along the eastern Ghat. So which water body are to be mapped as a spring? So we need to keep this always in mind that a spring is a focused natural discharge of flowing groundwater. And when we are creating a spring inventory, or when we are going to map the spring in field visits, so we should not map the artificial situations or the water which are flowing from the artesian well. And at the same time, we will also find that sometimes there are pipes are installed in order to channelize the flow of spring. So so those should not be, those should also be recorded as a spring while mapping them. So this is a 6-step methodology for sustainable development of spring set. So here the first and foremost step is the spring mapping, where the springs are being geo-tagged using mobile apps and field survey. Then the data which is collected through spring mapping is being used
for identifying the vulnerable spring by assigning different scores based on the data which is collected through survey. And this data set is being used for creation of web-enabled comprehensive database. So we would be looking into that WebGIS portal in coming slides. Then once we have this database, we can go for the spring set mapping, or for that hydrogeological survey, isotopic and geochemical mapping is to be done for the demarcation of spring set. And thereafter, adaptive solution for implementation can be suggested, where, in what way we can develop the spring set management plan, and which should be implemented by the local agencies. And last but very important is the creation of para-hydrologists. So here the idea is to groom the spring prairies like Bhujal Jankas in Rajasthan, and these spring prairies would be the local people who can be able to manage the springs of their villages or nearby places. So for them, we are adopting this cubic meter approach, which we are calling motivate, mentor, and monitor. So here, through various mass awareness programs and capacity building programs, these youth will be motivated, they will be mentored how they can work towards maintaining their spring, and later on we can step into the monitoring how they are actually following the guidelines or these ways to safeguard their springs or water resources. So for that, we have created this very comprehensive survey form with many relevant questionnaire pertaining to springs. So here the surveyor, basically we have created this form in two of our projects which we are doing in our institute. One is sponsored by NMHS, National Mission on Himalayan Studies, and National Hydrology Project. So here the surveyors are going, surveyors generally go to the field and they fill their information, and then there are spring description. So here we can see that latitude, longitude, elevation. So all these thing has to be recorded in order to geotag the spring. Then a spring ID has to be allotted. So this spring ID is required when we are collecting the water sample. Then that water sample has to be given certain ID, so that when we are doing water chemistry analysis in the lab, so we actually assign the right value to the right sample. Then spring name, if there is any local name of the spring. So sometimes we find that some very famous springs have some common, say local names. For example, I have shown the Papnasni river in the very first slide. So the name of that spring is Papnasni. Then there could be some landmark. It can also be recorded, so that next time when the team visit the place, the team can easily find out the spring. Then there are other details about these state, district, and Gram Panchayat. Then there are spring photos. So we are taking two photos, close-up shot and wide-angle shot. So basically, a close-up shot will give us a detailed idea about the spring, its status, how the opening is there. And the wide-angle shot would give us some idea about what is the land use, land cover in the vicinity of the spring. Then the last is the spring photo, the selfie. So and then spring video we are also recording, so that if there is some confusion in the discharge value, so that we can verify it by seeing the video. And then there is like spring nature, whether it is perennial or seasonal, or is there any structure is constructed. So all kind of details are there. And then there is some general physical characteristics of a spring. So here we record the volume of water collected in a certain time, and to calculate the discharge of a spring. So since the survey which we have done in our project, basically one-time survey, so this flow would come with a timestamp, and some of the parameters can be recorded in situ. For example, electric conductivity and pH, water temperature, DO, ORP, and TDS. So these can be recorded by hand and instrument. So these can be recorded at the place, at the site only. However, some other chemical parameters, characteristics like turbidity, sodium, so these has to be analyzed in the lab. For that, water sample is being collected, and in case the user or surveyor has the potable water kit with him or her, so he or she can make those analyses in situ as well. Thereafter, some other important parameters like primary land use land cover in spring upstream, secondary land use land cover in spring upstream. So these land use land cover are required in order to see what kind of status is there at present, so that we can have some idea about the recharge characteristics of the place, then spring location, where it is located, then resource threat. So some of the questions should has to be answered by interacting with the local people. So local people has to be involved here. This was the idea, as the science of spring is also becoming a science of citizen and community science. So we have to speak to the local people whether they feel is there any threat to the spring, and if there is threat, what is the degree of that threat, and what are the major stressor. Do they think that natural stressors are the could be more instrumental in deteriorating the spring status in future? What are the anthropogeny factors? So accordingly, we have different options here. So if we can see in the side and drop down list 7 and drop down list 6. So we have given certain options which we found are generally could be instrumental in damaging the spring. So from there, user can select the appropriate option by discussing with the locals, and if he finds that the options are not available, he can also fill in the choosing the other option. Likewise, the peak month of discharge, lean month of discharge, so all these things has to be discussed with the local. So the idea is to collect as much information as we can in one visit, and primary use, the secondary use of spring, like I mean whether the spring is being used for drinking water or washing or agriculture cattle. So likewise, if a spring is being used for drinking water, it means it is very important and has to be given very high priority. Likewise, there are other information like total dependent villages, name of number of dependent population. So this is all in the survey form. We would also be looking into the mobile app in subsequent slides. So in traditional way, the survey is being done by using paper-based data collection. So in paper-based data collection, what actually happens, the surveyor goes to the field and collect the data. Yeah, and later on the form has to be brought to the office, and the data entry operator will make all the entries, and later on it would be available for the analysis. So it is a very time-consuming process, and at the same time there is a lot of scope of feeding error, because when the surveyor is going to the field with all the forms, you don't know what is the how the state of weather at that time, and we can see here that many of the time the fonts are very difficult to read. So this makes the entire process error prone, and there is a lot of back and forth communication has to be made, so which is very time consuming process. So this can be eliminated if we switch to the electronic data collection approach. So here a Kobo toolbox is an open source app available, and it is being used by a huge number of community across the world, especially the humanitarian organization. So in this what we can do, we can create our questionnaire and we can make them available for the surveyor, and instead of going with the paper-based form, surveyor can use mobile app. He or she can fill the details in the mobile itself, and at the same time it also eliminates the role of GPS, handheld GPS. A good handheld GPS alone cost 30 to 40,000. So when we are using mobile-based technology, so here the inbuilt GPS can be utilized, and the form can be pushed in to the server in the real time for the analysis. So it also eliminates the role of data entry. So here there are many advantages of electronic-based data collection. We have quality control. We can have good quality control, as we can see, since the idea is to have more touch, less typing or less writing. So there would be a consistency in the record, and we can have different type of questions which are not possible in the paper-based form. like we can give logical questions. If a certain condition met, the question will appear, otherwise it will not be appear. And at the same time, like media files and GIS. So there are many options available. So this is the Cobot tool app. This is not. Look at me. Not it. You have to play it. Yeah. So this is the app which we are using in Cobot toolbox. So here we can, the user can fill all the details. Time of survey, which will essentially be the time stamp of the survey, and then the information can be fed. Then GPS coordinate. So generally in open condition, we will easily get accuracy of 4 to 5 meter, and here we don't have a mouse. I have to go there for that. Ma'am, actually here for portal I need mouse, so difficult to. Okay. Okay. So basically this app can be utilized to collect the data, and we have made all the required questionnaire so that we are collecting the same kind of data. We are not messing with the type of questions here. And when the data is collected, it is being sent to the server, which we are using for displaying in our user portal. And in all the question which I showed in the form can be displayed in this portal. And here we can see that there is a photo of spring is appearing there. That spring is in Bharmaur district of Himachal Pradesh. And on the left side, we can see the spring characteristics and demographic features and water quality parameters. So by clicking those, we can access to all the information pertaining to those parameters. So in that way, this portal can be utilized. And other information, similar information for all these springs are available there. Some infographics is also there, where we can get information about different parameters, say pH, EC, the land use, land cover type, and dependency of a spring in the form of pictorial results. Thank you very much.
I would like to inform one more thing. Besides this spring shed management work, we have also prepared the guidelines on scientific interventions for pond rejuvenation. And these were developed under one of the DST sponsored project at NIH. And a few days back only we finalized those things, and we have communicated those guidelines to our Department of Water Resources also, then to National Water Mission, and I have asked the concerned scientists to send these guidelines to all the central nodal officers of the Jal Shakti Abhiyan. So this is for the information, and soft copies we are sending, so all will be receiving by today or tomorrow. Thank you.
थैंक यू सर. और अब समय है डिस्कशन का, बिकॉज वी हैड बीन सीइंग अ लॉट ऑफ प्रेजेंटेशंस और बहुत सारी चीज़ें यहाँ मन से आप लोगों से साझा की गई. लेकिन आपके मन में अगर कोई शंका है या फिर आप कोई सवाल पूछना चाहते हैं, सो आर पीपल आर हेयर विद द माइक्स. तो अगर आप में से कोई भी किसी सवाल को पूछना चाहता है तो आप अपना हैंड रेज कर सकते हैं. वी विल सेंड अ माइक एंड यू कैन आस्क योर क्वेश्चंस. वी हैव द ऑफिशियल्स ओवर हियर ऑन द डाइस टू आंसर दैट. एनीवन? आप में से कोई भी कुछ कहना चाहता है? जी सर। सर आप प्लीज़ अपना परिचय दीजिएगा और सवाल पूछकर अगर आपका सवाल किसी पर्टिकुलर डिग्निटरी को है तो आप उन्हें एड्रेस कीजिएगा।
Good afternoon. I'm Rahul Jain. I'm posted in DPAM, Ministry of Finance. Hello. Am I audible? Hello.
Can we have the other mic?
My question is for Kmz sir. Just wanted to. Hello.
जी सर।
I just wanted to congratulate for the Amrit Sarovar scheme, which is very good for water conservation. And I have a doubt on that. I have a query on that regarding these Sarovar. Is it possible that we can select some of the private land also? Because I have seen in my field posting that some of the old structures are still in the private land. So is it possible that we can take up that in the Amrit Sarovar scheme?
In this scheme, we have taken only government land, so private ponds are not part of this.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else, please? आप में से किसी का भी कोई सवाल हो या कुछ कहना चाहते हो? You can just raise your hand. Mic will reach you. Sir, may we have the mic here? जी.
Yes, of course, we'll share them. Those presentations, material, you'll be flooded with material, in fact. I hope you'll read them.
जी. Can we have the mic over there at the back? Sir, please अपना introduction भी दीजिएगा.
Send us a mail, we'll see.
Anyone else, please? आप सभी लोगों से मैं शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहूँगी that you have really participated well over here. Ma'am, are we going for any kind of virtual query also? एक बार पता कर लें if someone is there.
If there are any virtual queries, they can just they can just send it to us, and we will mail the responses back.
Sure, ma'am.
And I think if we would request everybody to stay for lunch, so that we can have conversations over lunch as well. We request everybody to stay for lunch.
जी जी.
Please.
And before we proceed towards the lunch, we have a vote of thanks for you, क्योंकि कहा जाता है ना जब भी एक दूसरे के साथ हो तो शुक्रिया ज़रूर अदा करना चाहिए, क्योंकि कद बढ़ा नहीं करते एड़ियाँ उठाने से, ऊंचाइयाँ मिलती हैं सर झुकाने से. तो हम आप सभी के आगे सर झुकाते हैं that you all have been here with us. मंच आसीन गणमान्यों का भी हम धन्यवाद करते हैं. And for the vote of thanks, I would like to invite Advisor Tech National Water Commission, Shri S.M. Dikshit. Please put your hands together for him.
Respected dignitaries on the dais, senior officials, and the CNO and TOs, and my friends, very good afternoon, all of you. I feel honored to deliver the vote of thanks and show my profound gratitude to all of you. On behalf of the National Water Mission, Department of Water Resources, River Development, and Ganga Rejuvenation, I convey my sincere thanks to the Secretary, sir, for gracing the occasion and addressing the August gathering. We cannot organize this workshop without your support and guidance. Thank you very much, sir. I also express my sincere thanks to the Secretary, DOLR, Ministry of Rural Development for gracing this meeting and addressing the session in spite of his busy schedule and bring more cohesiveness amongst the ministries for the Jal Shakti Abhiyan. I would like to convey my heartfelt thanks to the Additional Secretary and Mission Director, National Water Mission, for presenting the role of CNOs and TOs. And ma'ams, you are the central force behind all the activities in implementing the Jal Shakti Abhiyan, Catch the Rain campaign, which really motivate us. I also express my sincere thanks to the advisor to the Honorable Minister of Jal Shakti for throwing the light on the scientific GIS-based water conservation plan. Sir, your continuous technical support and guidance for the JSA portal is really admirable. I have special thanks to the JSDORD for delivering the deep insights on the Amrit Sarovar. Thank you, sir. I would like to give the sincere thanks to the Director NIH for accepting the invitation on a short notice and giving the wonderful presentation on the rejuvenation of a spring. I also convey my sincere thanks to the CNOs and TOs for sparing their valuable time and attending this important meeting on the JSA CTR, physically and through the virtual platform. And I had the patience hearing for the speakers and presenters and make this event wonderful. I also express my gratitude and the sincere thanks to all the speakers for sharing their experiences and knowledge with us. I will not bring the justice if I will not mention about the team who is working day and night for the success of this workshop. Hence, I would like to give the sincere thanks to the team working behind the scene for the smooth functioning of this program. At the end, I bring the sincere apology to those who helped directly or indirectly and forget unwillingly to take their name. In the end, I request the CNOs and TOs for the proactive participation in this campaign and support the National Water Mission in the day-to-day implementation of Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain program. And I believe that together we will do and implement the JSA CTR program in much better way. With this, I humbly close my address. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
थैंक यू सो मच सर एंड एज मैम हैज सेड कि आप सभी लोग हमारे साथ भोजन ज़रूर ग्रहण करें. फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे भोजन का प्रबंध किया गया है. प्लीज़ जॉइन अस फॉर द लंच. दिस इज शिल्पा भावना साइनिंग आउट. जय हिंद.